Hey everyone, yes, I just rolled out of bed, but I want to talk about something quickly called the Bedjet. Now, what is the Bedjet? Well, basically, it's a device designed to keep you into a deeper sleep, and it does that by having like a cooling mode, which basically your body regulates itself where if it can get a little bit cooler, it will stay in a deeper sleep and REM cycle a little bit longer, thus giving you a better quality night's sleep. So the Bedjet is designed to be like more or less a fan, like a convection fan that's supposed to keep you cooler throughout the night and thus in a deeper sleep. Now, of course, the question that everybody has is, does it work? And the answer is kind of, but I still don't really care for it. First off, let's get some pros out of the way. The remote control that it comes with is awesome. Included with the Bedjet is the world's fanciest remote. I like a lot of things about this thing, such as the very intuitive screen, and also the fact that the buttons, they're backlit. The lights will go off at nighttime, but then when you pick it up, the lights will come on and then stay on for about like 2 seconds. But then obviously when you put the remote back down, they turn off again. So that's pretty nice to where the lights on the remote don't keep you awake. It's also fairly intuitive with the controls too. Pretty much just gives you everything in a very simplified layout. Another thing I like about it is that it's a very simple device and probably won't break as often or have as many issues as the water cooling systems like from Uller or some of the other competitors, because it's basically just a motor housed in a plastic box, which of course then has a plastic tube that connects to it, which then blows into your bed sheet. But this is why I don't like it. First off, the thing looks ugly when hooked up to your bed. Let's be honest, it is not aesthetically pleasing, and that big ass hose goes from under the bed and then of course can be seen throughout the sheets. You could also put it on the side of the bed technically, but honestly, like, there's no good place to put this thing. It is just hideous and weird looking. This box, for what it is also kind of on the big side. It is intuitive, but it's just kind of large and clumsy and may not fit under all frames, bed frames, or mattresses, although it probably should fit under most. And one of the final things that I don't care for is, unlike the Uller, which sort of guides you into creating the most like biorhythm efficient method for sleeping, this thing does not. And in fact, you also have to buy an extra sheet called a cloud sheet for it to work like well at all. And I found myself kicking the cloud sheet off in the middle of the night because it either got too cold or just wasn't quite feeling comfortable enough. Whereas with the Uller, that thing is underneath you, and yes, you can kind of feel the hoses a little bit, but still it's like, it just felt a little bit more intuitive and a little bit more comfortable. I really did not like the way the Bedjet made me feel. In fact, I found myself putting on like socks or just ultimately turning off the cooling capabilities in the middle of the night. Unlike the Uller, which I felt like kept me in a deeper sleep, it felt like the Bedjet was more interrupting than it was helpful. There are plenty of videos online on how to set this thing up, so I'm not going to go over that, but ultimately here are the parts that the Bedjet comes with. The Bedjet also doesn't come with the recommended cloud sheet. They say that the cloud sheet is recommended because it's supposed to give you like a 75% better effectiveness on the product. Now, the thing is I understand why they don't include it, and frankly, I found that it made the setup even like uglier in a way, because I don't like sleeping with a top sheet. I usually just have a duvet over myself. But that said, it was adding another kind of layer to it, and I don't actually know if it made it any more effective. I tried it a couple nights without the cloud sheet and then a couple nights with it, and I didn't find myself necessarily thinking it was better either way. It still felt a little bit too cold even with the cloud sheet, and frankly, I thought that the breeze was a little bit nicer without it, even though I didn't like the breeze, ironically. But ultimately, the cloud sheet is just supposed to disperse the air on top of you a little bit more effectively than if you just had the fan sitting underneath your duvet cover or your current sheet. I don't think it's a bad product, and Bedjet's return policy is pretty fantastic. So ultimately, you may want to consider trying the Bedjet to see if it is something that will work with you. It kept me cold at night rather than just cool, and it didn't have the scheduling capabilities or the intuitive scheduling capabilities to wake me up with like a warm feeling when it was supposed to. So yes, you can build a schedule in to the machine using the remote as well as the application, but it still just didn't feel quite as intuitive as the Uller. And again, not to mention you've got this big ugly hose that's blowing air on you the entire evening. It just was not comfortable for me, but mileage may vary on that. So sure, maybe give the Bedjet a try, but for those that don't like breeze or big ugly things in their bedroom, then the Bedjet is definitely not going to be for you. Anyway, I hope this quick review was helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us in the comments section.